Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review one of Hayao Miyazaki's, it's his second to last film, Ponyo, and I got to see this in theaters during the Ghibli Fest that they're doing for Fathom Events this year, and this is the first one. And Ponyo is a personal favorite of mine because this is such a crazy movie, but it's so engaging, so endearing, and such a wonderful ride. And I'm just gonna get some of the names out of the way. The thing is, I already talked about Hayao Miyazaki, who wrote and directed this. This film is directed with because like one of my big things about a lot of anime is pacing, and I feel like a lot of them have this strange, really slow, deliberate pace towards them. And this one actually has some fun energy to it and keeps up the pace pretty well. And I like that a lot about this film, especially clocking in around 2 hours, especially for an animated kids film, because that's the one thing about this is that, excuse me, drop my remote. This film is much more of a kids film, and you could really feel that it doesn't deal with it doesn't go super dark. Like, it gets to a point where it's like talking about like the world's gonna flood and stuff like that, but it doesn't get to places like Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke. Deals straight up. This is a kid's adventure, and it doesn't get super heavy. And my one potential negative about Ponyo is that it does get a little childish, and some of the dialogue from Ponyo and the young boy that she becomes friends with is a little childish. And especially, like, I've only seen the dub versions of any of these films, and like the girl who plays Ponyo can be a little obnoxiously kiddie, but overall this is a really well done film, and it takes this interesting story of a little girl who's a fish who meets this little boy, and she wants to become human to be friends with this little boy, but then her dad, who's a mad like water scientist and whose mom is like ocean spirit, try to figure out how to balance like their daughter leaving, who's throwing off the balance of all of nature because she consumes a drop of this little boy's blood and becomes partly human, and them falling for each other, and in a little cute, endearing way, and them going on this adventure through this flooded world. And it's absolutely beautiful. And that's not saying much about a Miyazaki film. They're all absolutely beautiful, but this is a really beautiful film. It's animated so beautifully, and I was sitting there in the theater wishing that we got some more fantastic 2D animated films like this, but it's really not the style anymore. But at least we could go back and watch beautiful things like this, because this is absolutely gorgeous, and this came out in like 2009, so this is still relatively recent. 9 years ago is, oh my god, 9 years ago. But this film is so beautiful, and Atsushi Okui does the cinematography for this and does a really fantastic job working with Miyazaki, making such a beautifully shot, beautifully animated film. And the story is fun, and there's fun supporting characters. I really like the mom, who in the dub version is voiced by Tina Fey. She's really endearing. And then you got this interesting performance by Liam Neeson, who plays the crazy scientist guy, and Cate Blanchett's beautiful as the mother, who's like the ocean spirit. She's great, and she brings a really special vocal performance to this. And this film is really well done, and it's a lot of fun. It's really endearing. Kids will love it. You as an adult can love it because it's so fantastical and really takes you on an adventure. And it made me really think about how some of our greatest fantasy films are in animation, because you can create these crazy worlds and it not look like a giant CGI mess. It's just a beautifully animated film, and it's really realized and fleshed out. And imagining some of this in live action could be really creepy. My friend Kevin, who I saw this with, was like, yeah, you can imagine seeing that little girl turning into like a fish would be really creepy. I'm like, actually, it probably would have. It's probably why this should just be animated. But my big takeaway from this is it's such a magical adventure. Great fantasy for all ages. It's weird and imaginative and endearing. Go check out Ponyo if you haven't seen it. And I'm giving Ponyo an A.